My name is William Benson.
I'm Patrick Duke-Tine,
I'm the founder and CEO of Billionaires Row.
co-founder and president of Billionaires Row.
I grew up in a small town in North Carolina, in the South, and I was raised by a single mother. I have two other brothers and a sister. I'm the oldest of four. Really, where I grew up at, I saw a lot of dirt roads, a lot of tobacco, a lot of soybean, but I saw a lot of work ethic. My mother worked 3 jobs, to pay the bills, and so I saw her work ethic and took on that work ethic as a young kid, where I was cutting yards and picking up garbage, and at 12 years old to make money because I wanted nice things. So my mother couldn't afford them, so I wanted to help her out. So I got gigs at 12, and that was it.
I'm from literally a humble beginning family. Someone that's, as a family, a large family. One of 10, same dad, same mom, 7 sisters, 3 brothers. Upbringing was a bit rough. Was a rough upbringing. So just reflecting on those tough times, but just to have someone like my mother that instill the actual integrity and honesty and all of us, it kind of molds you into who you are as what you would see today. Coming up, and the background and parents being an immigrant parent, it tends to humble you, and it tends to make you appreciate life, and just literally just take your time and just literally understand what life has to offer. But at the same time, you try to make the best of it. So I think with my upbringing, to lead to say, it was something that for me, wouldn't take it, wouldn't change it. I think that it made me who I am, and I embraced it and accepted it.
So one of my very close friends growing up, his father owned a carpet shop, and I used to, after school, go to his father's job and make carpets from scratch. And I saw that his father had nice things, but he was very humble, but they had nice things. And so I was like, I could see myself being an entrepreneur one day. This isn't so bad. I thought about joining the military. I thought about, joining the Army. I thought about playing in the NBA. I thought about playing baseball, all these things as a kid growing up. But when I saw his work ethic, he was sitting next to me making carpets from scratch, and he was the millionaire. And I was a kid in high school, and I was like, this job looks boring, but he has a lot of nice things. So, it made me want to delve in a little bit more the entrepreneurial side, understand what it really is, what it was, and what it meant.
Becoming an entrepreneur, it's not the first thing you think of. It's not, it's not a celebration. It's hard work. It's lost time with the family. It's trusting the process. And I think that when you say entrepreneur, it comes with a different responsibility. And I think that in the responsibility of the magnitude of Billionaires Row, just literally 2 young individuals and young entrepreneurs, we understand the responsibilities that we face. And I think that you get inspired by just many different experiences that you go through in life. And sometimes that particular experience tend to analyze and you idolize a different way of entrepreneurship, because you look at it from a different lens. With your upbringing, entrepreneur may scream different for every single person. It may be different for me than it is for someone else. But when I think of entrepreneurship, and it is something that we have to remind ourselves that within the process of building anything, any brand, any company, that it's not about you. It's about others, and it's about making sure that you can help another person to kind of reach that potential goal. And I think that for me, that's what entrepreneur is. It's allowing to not only reach your potential goals, but allowing to definitely bring and inspire others.
So about 11 years ago, literally, I was like listening to the radio, and what I used to do is I used to take notes. A very good friend named Sakaya Sandifer's Kanye West's best friend, used to come over, and literally we would sit and come up with ideas and concepts. He had just finished writing the Kanye West book. It was like a bestseller. And so he came over, and I'm like, look, we got to think of a game plan. And he was like, what ideas you have? So I'm like, so I heard this song called Run This Town, and Jay-Z said, so my bank is looking like Billionaires Row. And I said, But I thought at the time, I was like, well, his reality, his real true self, he was a millionaire. I said, well, what if we took that narrative and made it Billionaires Row and created it in a way where we could make it aspirational to young people, right? Because everybody wants to be a billionaire. And every billionaire is looking down at the millionaires and is like, I don't want to be them. And then, and every millionaire is chasing up the ladder to become one of those 1,700 billionaires. So it's really just like a time in my life where I think that the universe was really working in my favor. So I hate to say I came up with the idea. I think that God uses me as a vehicle to inspire other people. And so when that idea came into my head, I wrote it down really quickly. And they're like, yo, you're crazy. And I said, I know I'm crazy. And so Sakaya designed the very first BR logo, which at the time was 2 lions. It was a BR and 2 lions on the end. And it almost looked like a dollar bill in a sense. And I was like, this is dope, but this won't speak to, it only speak to a certain person. I want it to be universal where it speaks to the world. And so we came up with the BR concept, and the rest is history from that point.
Met William about 7, 8 years ago, and when we first met, it was just like 2 kids. We had a bond that screams no other. Anyone that knows us both, we're the yin and the yang of individuals. He's the more, guy that loves to have, fun and wants to see everyone have fun. I'm the more serious guy, no nonsense, in your face, all about business. But I think that part of our relationship has molded us and molded the experience of where the company is today. I think you get someone like himself that, and I've always told him, this is your dream. Before I got fully involved and before I became a co-founder, this was his dream. And I remember telling him, it's just an honor to share that same space. Watching someone constantly build at a young age, as a young entrepreneur, we tend to take that for granted because we forget the actual story behind the individual. And sometimes we have to remember that everyone's story is different. And I think when Vincent and I met, just having similar background stories, we talk more about our personal experience than actually the brand. We feel as though, both of us being spiritual guys, it allows us to continue to be humble. And I think that our conversations are serious conversations about just having the ability to just to remain humble. That, we understand that God can give it and God can take it. And you tend to remind yourselves constantly in our conversations. We go to this private location in Lincoln Road. We don't let the team come. It's just Vincent and I. It's a secret location that we normally go and have our deepest conversations. And 9 out of 10 times, it has nothing to do with Billionaires Row. It's literally just getting to know an individual at his deepest, sometimes at his weakest moments. But what we've learned in our experience and learned through our journey, that it's bigger than us. It's bigger than both he and I, and we have to embrace that. For him, you know, to just think of an idea of Billionaires Row, most people can kind of relate. It's a Staples Center name, but to own the rights to that particular name, for most people, it's a wow factor. But you embrace it and you're humble about it.
Well, most people hear Billionaires Row, they think about money, but it's not just about money. It's about fashion, it's about style, class, philanthropy, and family. The reason why I chose at the time to use champagne as the flagship is because for me, I felt that it was a universal language. It's a conversation starter. There's never been a time where I've been in any room and I've offered a woman or a guy a glass of champagne and they've said no, even if they don't drink. They'll take a sip, they'll sit it down, you know, unless it's religious reasons, which 1.3 billion people on the planet for religious reasons don't drink alcohol. But I think there's a certain level, and I think champagne speaks to that level, and it doesn't matter where you are in life. You know, offering someone a glass of champagne is like, it puts a smile on your face. And you know, they say, and wins you deserve it, and in defeats you need it. You know what I mean? So if Floyd Mayweather wins a fight, he's gonna go pop a bottle of champagne. If McGregor loses a fight, he's gonna go pop a bottle of champagne. So, you know, at the end of the day, it's a universal language, and it's a conversation starter to open doors for other ideas, other creatives, and other like-minded individuals to grow.
Benson liked to call it, he likes to call it the Brooklyn Bridge. We'll be dead and gone, and the word Billionaires Row would always be a Staples Center of something. It's amazing, I think, when you, in the process of, not only in the wine and spirit space, but just the luxury company in a whole, first company to ever have a champagne, an XO, and actual alkaline spring water within the same space. It's an accomplishment that no brand has ever done. There's not a blueprint out there that can represent what we've accomplished. And you push forward. You push forward as you're welcoming yourself to come in finally into the States. You're humble about it. You're not only humble, but you can't wait for an experience, for a consumer to have that experience. I think we've had such a brand impression online for years. We've done well in South Africa, and now finally coming into the States where consumers can finally have the experience. I think that's the big thing that we take away from it. It's allowing everyone to kind of go through an experience in life. And we feel as though, while building a brand and a lifestyle brand, like Billionaires Row, luxury lifestyle company, it's the experience. I think people take away from the experience in life. I think if there's anything that you take away from anything, it is the experience. So not only when you drink our champagne, but the actual experience of Billionaires Row in a whole. That's what we want to give our consumers.
What I want people to think of about when they hear the name Billionaires Row is I want them to think of aspiration. I want them to think of where you could be in life and where you are, because you're never truly going to be where you are in life. Like today you could be broke, but you're not always going to be broke. You know, today you could be homeless, but you're not always going to be homeless. Today you'll be at McDonald's, but you're not always going to be at McDonald's. So it's aspiration for anybody. You know, I tell people all the time, look, if you're at McDonald's and you're flipping French fries, master the business of flipping fries, because maybe you could become the company to sell McDonald's those fries one day. So it's all about your perspective in life and where you are and where you want to be, and really just not settling for the norm. And I think that in order to be great in this climate, you need to be disruptive. So I want people to think, when they hear Billionaires Row, I want them to think of aspiration. I want them to think of the best of everything, the best suit. If you want to wear a suit, it may not be the most expensive, but you know, wear it to your language. Speak the language you want people to hear when you walk in the room, you know, when you're at work, you know, when you're out and about.
When you think of Billionaires Row, we want you to not only think of a lifestyle, but to be inspired. to be inspired that you can be great. And that's what we're all about. It's a luxury company, but I think that it's a luxury company that understands the abilities of others and pushing that and instilling that into you as a person and letting you understand that in this process as a company, you can do anything in this world. And if we want you to take anything away from Billionaires Row, it's that you can do it. And that is our mission statement. That is who we are as a company. And we're going to continue to be by that. We're going to continue to back that. We're going to continue to push that.
Legacy means everything to me. The reason why I'm even doing what I'm doing is to make sure that my children and my children's children can contribute to society in some way, shape, form, or fashion. With owning the word Billionaires Row, like I told Patrick, it's like owning the Brooklyn Bridge, you know? Far after I'm gone, Billionaires Row will be around. And so the champagne and the cognac is just an introduction. You know, we have our fragrance collection that's launching in 2021. We have our water collection that's launching in 2021, and we have our hotel and resort collection that's launching in 2021. So we're extending the brand as we should. And my children, my beautiful twin girls, they shadow me. You know, they're 6 years old, but they know, you know. I want them to get into the entrepreneurial spirit now because other families are doing it with their children, and I want them to be able to understand the business so that they'll never have to go and sit in front of someone and give them their resume about why they should hire them or why the person that's looking at them should pay them what they think that they're worth rather than what I think that they're worth.
This is behind the scenes, guys.
Kiss him on the forehead.
You can kiss him on the forehead.
Kiss him on the forehead. First time put makeup on, guys.
Ever?
For the record.
Well, you
Alright, holding it straight, holding it a little bit more straight.
She read the dick, she's flat, ballin' like Dink, told her I love her, I ain't really mean that, yeah. Nowadays these people like fun, remember way back she was love. These bitches sneaky can't cope, I got 4 hoes that went top.